Been 10 years. I wanted to make this video for such a long time. Finally gonna get around to it, so I hope you all enjoy.
Devil May Cry.
What's happening, people? Black here, and I'm back to make another video. I want to talk about the main thing that is actually a hot sensation about this year, and it's Devil May 5. I want to talk about the brief history of it, what led up to Devil May Cry 5, how I got into the franchise, what I think of the characters, the gameplay, what I would like to see happen, and what I would love to see in the upcoming installment, as well as give my overall thought on how they should conclude the series and the future of it going forward. So if you guys enjoy the videos I've made so far, be sure to show your love as usual. Let's jump right into the whole beginning of Devil May Cry. It starts off being another Resident Evil game. However, it was so different, so action oriented, they decided to scrap the whole premise while leaving some of the structured elements for it in the game, and that is what the idea of creating a game, which means it'd be called Devil May Cry. So anyway, the game one. They also take inspiration from another Capcom game called Onimusha with the whole juggling mechanic. That's where the juggling mechanic in Devil May Cry comes from. So as a whole, Devil May Cry first started in 2001. Its first entry, the original creator, Hideki Kamiya, left and went on to make another company called Platinum Game with other former Capcom employees. Someone else took over with a new person called Insuno, decided to write a new game just like Devil May Cry, and ended up with what was supposed to have been Lucia, but changed to add Dante into the game. And that's how they came up with Devil May Cry 2. After the immense backlash from Dante's characterization, from being cocky to just being stoic throughout the entire of Devil May Cry 2, Capcom took feedback and actually decided to make a new title after that, which is Devil May Cry 3, which is a return back to the roots of the original Devil May Cry, adding all sorts of new gameplay, revitalization of the character, adding more playable characters such as her, and this somewhat carried over into the last entry, Devil May Cry 4, which was a more refined Devil May Cry 3 with the style switching and bringing in new flavor with Nero demonic arm, which you can use all sorts of beats that are tied only to Nero. Right after 2008, there hasn't been an official Devil May Cry game in the last 10 years, except for that one reboot, which I really don't care much for. It doesn't feel like a Devil May Cry to me. If it was to be its own game, it wouldn't have ended up with mixed reviews, and also if the people who were making it then disrespecting fans and not taking fan feedback and criticisms. How I got to know Devil May Cry series is that I was hanging out with friends while they were going to ask me if I had Devil May Cry, and that's what got me interested in checking out the series in late 2006. And ever since then, I read Devil May Cry 3 from 1, 2, and 4 in 2008. And the rest was history. Immediately after like the whole reboot, everything, there was been a huge debate battle going on between which one is the sequel, the DMCV reboot, or the original DMCV. But they're kind of unnecessary, and I think a lot of people didn't care for the reboot. Some people liked it. I just wanted to do that, didn't care for it. I really wanted to see the continuation of the original saga of the original Sparta warriors and descendants and such. Yeah, I'm not very sure if I'll ever go play the reboot of Devil May Cry, because like I said, it's not a Devil May Cry game. But if it was a completely different game made by an okay developer, actually treat their fans well, then maybe things could have been different. Well, can't dwell on that. Let's move on to Devil May Cry 5. Anyway, I believe the story of Devil May Cry 5 takes place when V enters Dante's Devil May Cry agency and proposes a job to him to help V take out the upcoming resurrection of the new Demon King. So with that established, Morrison, his assistant, goes and tries to find Lady and Trish and assists Dante with his quote-unquote gig. Along the way, sometime after that, V also runs into Nero, who unfortunately had his arm ripped off by the mysterious person, who many people, including myself, believe that's Virgil, which then kicks off the whole entire rest of the story. So Dante, V, Lady and Trish, and soon after Nero and his new arm manufacturer Nico. Since Nero has lost his Devil Bringer, he will need the help of Nico to build him replacement arms called Devil Breakers, which I'll talk about later. But long story short, they all fight Urizen, and unfortunately the Demon King is much too powerful for any character to deal with, even Dante with his new perfect Devil Trigger. So they all have got dealt with defeat, and Dante eventually says that this is a bad move, tells V to get Nero out of there and just regroup and come up with a different strategy before he does something very desperate. So basically right off the bat, the characters, the Devil Hunters, are facing a much more dangerous enemy, an enemy that is far powerful than that of even Mundus. Dante, being as strong as he's ever been, couldn't even lay a finger on him. The entire world gets invaded. This thing called the Demon Tree, which kind of acts as a portal to just releasing all the demons from the underworld. But anyway, there have been leaks regarding Devil May Cry 5, some things from the beginning of the game, which they're all pretty much public now. The team fighting Urizen, to Nero losing his arm, and some characters being mentioned. I'm not going to mention any of them by name, but at least the characters are from other forms of Devil May Cry media, including the anime. I'm glad that this game is touching up on stuff through new characters and from some of the old characters. I know that some characters are more integral to the story than others. Long-time Devil May Cry fans should know who exactly I'm talking about in particular in this character's connection to Nero, which hopefully they will explain in this installment. And some, including myself, we all thought that Capcom was showing a little bit too much before the game's release, but we actually found out from some interviews said Devil May Cry is said to be the longest one in the franchise, addressing the mystery of why it's set after 2. And that's another thing, the timeline, it was something to take in at first. It was something I had to get used to, but after a few days, I warmed up to it, and I could see where it makes sense for 2 to be before Devil May Cry 4. That makes sense from Dante growing his Devil Trigger powers. Like it matured quite a bit, and that's why the amulet system was there. Honestly, it doesn't quite explain why Lucy is not in the game. Maybe Devil May Cry 2 and the novel extensions are probably just in an alternate dimension, and if we never touch on them again, I wouldn't mind that. I just like how they touched on how it would make sense for Dante to be so powerful like in Devil May Cry 4. It would make a lot of sense why Nero was not in the picture between 4 and 5 if 2 was set after 4. I mean, 4 is directly after 2, so went down to the deepest circle of hell. What was he down there for? Probably to get Yamato back, because he's still in search of it in Devil May Cry 4. Maybe to save Lady and Trish if they were truly killed, especially Trish. Don't know about Lady. I guess Lady was off doing her own thing as usual. But anyway, the whole mystery, hopefully they will still touch on why 5 is after 2. Of course, I can get an idea of why 4 is after 2, and 5 is a direct sequel to 4. Hopefully they will touch on that. Dante's powers, that makes sense. It makes sense for some of the new characters being introduced and all sorts of stuff that I cannot think of right now. But anyway, this is said to be the longest game of the franchise. Devil May Cry 1 and 2, they felt like they were shorter, but I felt like they had so much simply because we were all playing as one character. With Devil May Cry 3, it was sort of a different change. Well, 3 and 2 to some extent having new playable characters, and then it kept rolling from there. And Devil May Cry 4 kind of felt like half of a game with going to backtracking and all that stuff, which looks like not going to be doing much of that in the next installment. The game that Capcom has showed, like the beginning parts, that's like up to mission 10, then you play as Dante in mission 11. Going from 12 and beyond that, we don't know, but we do have information that the game will take a more emotional turn, gonna be where Dante used to live at, so hopefully get more insight on his character as well as the others. It's gonna clock in like around 15-16 hours give or take, depending on how skilled you are as a Devil May Cry player. Now we got all of that cleared up. Let's move on to the characters, especially the main three. Regarding Nero, Nero will be the first character that you will be playing at the beginning of the game. He plays much like he did in Devil May Cry 4. If anyone has played that or has played the recent demo, which I am about to after I finish recording this video. So as of this recording, the demo will already be out. It's already on PSN or Xbox One. Unfortunately, there's nothing for PC at the moment. Hopefully the PC owners will get that soon, but there are some changes, such as the new Devil Breaker system. The Devil Breakers are a set of robotic prosthetic arms that Nero can use at any time. You can even switch out his loadout. Like, it was 4 in the demo, but as soon as the game starts it will be 3. The game, for story-based reasons, at the beginning he loses his Devil Bringer to a mysterious figure, but we can pretty much guess who that character is. So his mechanical friend Nico has build prosthetic arms for him. As the name suggests, Devil Breakers. The Devil Breakers themselves are extremely fragile and therefore set as a consumable item for Nero to use. Like I said, you only got a limited amount, so you can use them. From what I've seen of gameplay trailers and such, in gameplay you can use the natural abilities for as long as you want, but when you use the stronger versions of the attack from each Devil Bringer, as far as Devil Breakers go, one can give Nero extra mobility, one can give him electric attacks, another one turns into like a drill, other one just powers up the weapon. There's so many things, like there's at least 8 or 9 Devil Breakers that will be used in the game, and by the end of the game he'll be able to hold 8 breakers on them in his arsenal. The breakers have a simple move that you can use when pressing the O button. However, there's a stronger form of the attack which will break the arm on impact. As soon as it gets the breaker, which the arm will break as soon as the technique or powerful attack used. And then there's the breakaway move. Is kind of like Lady's Devil Trigger, not even the Devil Trigger, like it's a special attack that is like a full screen blow up, blows up all the enemies and such. It's sort of like that, except that it's just used to sever his current arm and switch to a new one. Helps Nero get away from scrambles or get away from incoming damage. But really, it gives Nero extra mobility and extra variety with his gameplay. To be honest, this Nero's Devil Bringer, it was great, but it felt very limited. But with the breakers, it gives Nero a lot of ways to experiment. A lot of players can experiment with that. I feel like he's a mix of the two, the mix of old with new, so everything else is still the same. He has the same shooting and melee combat with the Red Queen sword and blue robes on respectively. I have a feeling he will have a Devil Trigger gauge because of the bar underneath his health bar. He'll have his ribbon mechanic, which will ignite his sword manually or either by timing your attacks right. Like I said, some of his moves from Devil May Cry 4 will feel a lot of the same, though there's not much to talk about with those. He'll have the same skills and abilities. Now moving on to story-wise, Nero is on a mission to get the person that took away his arm, which will lead to a surprise. It will probably lead him to find what may be the corrupted Virgil, which has been spoiled. And if you take that voice and just audio change it a little bit, then you can figure out it's Dan Southworth who plays as Virgil. And plus he's in the cast list, so along with Ruben Langdon as well as Johnny Bosch, who play as Dante and Nero respectively. So I have no doubt, it's pretty much 90% confirmed that Virgil will be in the game of some sort. Hopefully he will be as extra unlockable character with his own campaign and missions, like 5 missions or something like that. Hopefully he will be treated like Resident Evil 6 with Ada Wong, being an additional character that you get to play as, just like Resident Evil 6. Okay, moving on to the next character, V, who we know little about. In my opinion, he could be Mundus himself, or created by Mundus to actually stop the Demon King from taking over the human and demon world, so that he can use him, so that Mundus can use him to bring Mundus back. Pretty much confirmed confirmed by some people V is a demon instead of a human, and there was a reason why he was looking for Sparta's sword, and there was a reason why he needed the help of Dante and somewhat Nero to go and take out Urizen, but it didn't go as planned. Urizen was way too strong for all the characters, so he was looking for the sword of Sparta, probably give it to Dante or something. Some people say he was trying to kill them, but I think he's probably using them in some way. It seemed like he has alternate motives. Another theory is that he could be Virgil, at least part of him, at least his human side of Virgil, and the demons are just demonic powers or something. Now the Angelos are a piece of Virgil, Urizen is the actual Virgil, and Virgil becomes Urizen, stealing Nero's arm and consuming the demon fruit to allow him to become a demon king named Urizen. I don't know. We don't know anything past mission 10. So those are the two theories that I'm sticking to, or he could just very well be created by Mundus, and the demons that he has are pretty much the same ones from Devil May Cry 1, so that would make sense for him to be either a reincarnation or at least a creation of Mundus, using the devil hunters to take out Urizen so that the demon emperor can come back. But anyway, speaking of V, his playstyle is very different from Nero and Dante. He's not directly in the fight, he's just controlling the fight through his familiars, which is a Black Panther demon Shadow and the winged beast Griffin. Now Griffin is mapped to the square button, which is the long range attack, whereas Shadow, he does the melee sword spike type of combat. V's double trigger allows him to summon another demon called Nightmare, which all come from Devil May Cry 1, and they were all Mundus minions, leaning towards the theory of him being a creation of Mundus, or at least a reincarnation of him, something like that. But only V can kill his enemies, and since he's a demon, a very weak demon at that, he needs his familiars to weaken the demon so that V can jump in and finish them off and take their energy, probably to get stronger and gain more power. I guess that's where they're going with this, or maybe he will change his ways and actually redeem himself by maybe sacrificing himself, giving Nero and Dante a huge power up. I don't know, anything can happen. The familiars cannot be taking damage for too long, or they'll be knocked out of the fight, which V will have to step in and be around them in order to gain, so that they can recover faster. I think his taunt is reading a book, which allows him to feel his double trigger, so that his double trigger can actually go up a lot faster. But V's gameplay is very different. It's just staying away from the battle, controlling his familiars, have them do the heavy work, the heavy lifting, and V can just show up and give them finishing blows. So now we lead into Dante, which is probably the most traditional out of all the other characters. Dante's pretty much gonna be the same about Devil May Cry 3, 4, and all the other previous installments. He's gonna have his styles, he's gonna have his dual pistols and his rebellion sword, which he will lose at the beginning of his campaign, or at the beginning of the game. However, there will be secret weapons for him, and he will be getting some classic weapons such as Sparta's sword, which he will get later on. Not a spoiler, this is in mission 11. That's when you will begin to play as him, I do believe. And there are some missions where you can choose characters and you beat the other characters through computer gold or another player online. This is part of the Dark Souls, Bloodborne type of co-op that Capcom has inserted into this game. There's not much to say on Dante. He's pretty much the same if you play Devil May Cry or any of the Devil May Cries, especially 3 or 4. You're gonna feel right at home. He'll have his styles, his Devil Trigger, which is his demonic transformation. He'll have his Trickster, Royal Guard, Swordmaster, and Gunslinger. He'll gain some new weapons, some hidden weapons, all of that good stuff. So Dante was being tasked to take out this new upcoming Demon King, so Morrison gets Lady and Trish to help him out. So all three of them go together and they meet up with Nero. All of them get their asses handed to them by the Demon King, so they have to regroup and come up with another way of actually, all of them except Dante get captured, but we know for sure Lady and Trish are captured. Nero somehow escapes, gets with the help of Dante, and V sort of leaves and then comes back and then leaves and said V had some ulterior motive, and it looked like he wanted to get the Devil Hunters to weaken the Demon King so that V could take him out. I don't know. Too many theories going around because we know so little about the game past missions 10. We know that the theme of Devil May Cry 1 will be carried over to Devil May Cry 5, and that theme of love can cover a multitude of things. It could mean Virgil getting a redemption after seeing his brother after so many years, a son he never had, which is Nero, or seeing his mom in the form of Trish, or it could mean that Virgil too far gone and then Dante will have to give up himself in order to take down Virgil again. Like I said, it could go in all sorts of ways. I'm kind of hoping the latter will be the final battle for these Sparta warriors, especially the Sons of Sparta, because they said it's gonna be the end of the Sparta storyline, not the end of the franchise itself. What I would like in Devil May Cry 5 is all the playable characters that we played as, including Lucia, Lady Trish, Virgil. All these characters become playable, if not have their own campaign inside Devil May Cry as a form of DLC or special edition or free update. Capcom has been doing recently. I hope we get to see the Perfect Devil Trigger for Nero Dante as well as the Majin form. I like to see Virgil actually in the story and not in some flashback like in Devil May Cry 4. All complaints with Devil May Cry 4 aside, Capcom had a rush schedule, but Devil May Cry 5 seems a lot more polished, and it seemed like they really took their time and took fan consideration when they were making this. Well, that's what I like them to address why is 5 and 4 after 2 and why was Dante so different. I hope it's not bad writing. I hope that they can retcon 2 in some way. If they just relegated to Dante being an alternate dimension and he had to go to hell to come back out, I'll be okay with that. Trying to think of what else can they actually do or what I would like them to do. Obviously no backtracking. I like each of the characters to have their own. Even I would like each of the players to have equal amount of time to play as each character. And that includes the extra characters that they said they might add later on, depending on how the game sells and how much demand from consumers and fans who actually want the characters to be in the story. Even Kirie, Patty, or some of these other characters that were mentioned or in other Devil May Cry media, and I would like them to give like a whole beginning to end story. This may be a small thing, but I would like them to confirm that Sparta is dead, because Sparta has never appeared in the entire series. For me, in my personal canon, I like to think that Sparta is dead, because where is this demon? Like the legendary demon swordsman, where is he at? A lot of people talk about him, and a lot of people want Sparta's swords gain like tremendous power, but we've never seen this dude in the game, not even once. I really do think he is dead, and I'm leaning towards the original Devil May Cry take on the legend of this demon swordsman. Though, yeah, how I would like to see it end, I like to see it be like a passing of torch story from Dante to Nero, because Nero seemed like that character. He's kind of like Raiden, except that in the Devil May Cry universe, I like Dante to either stay around as a mentor, or both he and Virgil finally duke it out and actually kill each other in the process, or give up their lives and stop the Demon King or Mundus, because they went through a whole lifetime of struggles and challenges, and just to see them go out like that and the love they have for each other, while Dante desired to protect humans and humanity, and Virgil's love for his family who is no longer there anymore, and he wanted to gain power just for that, or maybe to protect the family he never could protect or never could have, and they finally settle each other's differences in a 1v1 duel to the death, and then just pass the torch on to Nero. All the other characters would either die or go their separate ways. Then Nero would be still the demon hunter, still protecting the world in his prime. So that's how I like to see it end. Would I like to see any more Devil May Cry games in the future? Yes and no. I would not want to see another Devil May Cry with all the characters and their storylines, especially Dante and Virgil. I feel like if this is gonna be the end of the Sparta storyline, I want it to be the end of the Sparta storyline. I want it to be the end of the Sons of Sparta story. You can still have Nero in Devil May Cry 6 and just have it be him be the main character, but the life of Dante and Virgil are pretty much done, unless they're gonna be men, which I don't mind, and they just be put in the back seat. That's what I would like to see in the Devil May Cry sequel after 5, but would I like to see them in games between Devil May Cry 1 to Devil May Cry 2 or Devil May Cry 5, any new game between for Sons of Sparta storyline without it being a sequel, yes, I would like to see that. I would like to see more games in between games in the Sparta storyline, because that will give more answers to questions that we have so much of and that went on unanswered. Even if it's like Devil May Cry 7 and 8 taking place before 2 or before 5 or something like that, as long as they're like in the Sons of Sparta storyline. If y'all gonna have Dante, Virgil, and all the characters in the Sons of Sparta storyline being in new games in between the older games before 5, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And there is something I should mention, that they are making a new anime on Netflix of Devil May Cry, so hopefully it's canon. Or even if they remake the entire Devil May Cry, I wouldn't even mind that, with a more serious take, without some of the comedic stuff. I wouldn't mind that. It'd be way better than the reboot, which reboot, hit or miss. Some people like it. I don't really care much for it. If it was its own game, then I wouldn't mind it as much. But yeah, there was a recent interview, asked the people at Capcom. They asked Capcom would they rather do a remake or make Devil May Cry 6. Capcom answered the question like they may as well would want to make new games instead of remakes. So pretty much in the end it could go either way. I love being a fan of Devil May Cry since late 2006. I feel like this game is pretty much the end point. This is the end of the Sons of Sparta storyline. This is the end of Devil May Cry as we know it. Time to pass the torch down to a new generation. That's how I feel like Devil May Cry is and should be. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to spread the support and love as usual. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
I've got a question, if you'd hear me out. In your defense, you never had a chance, and so tell me straight, I won't go. This is our time now, I'm sure, make no mistake.